yeah, so here's a funny one that I wanted to do a while ago whilst I was slacking. And by slacking, I mean messing around with my mic's EQ settings. Katsuhiro Harada pushes back against claims Tekken is racist. Now, normally when I speak about games, well, at least lately anyway, I don't know the games because AAA gaming is a giant load of lumpy ass these days. However, I've been a Tekken fan since the second one when I was still a boy back in South Africa, so I'm very familiar with the franchise. And yes, Yosemichi is still my favorite. Though I did like Paul Phoenix, if only because of the burning fist punch. Oh yeah, and Gon was hilariously irritating. But anyway, the Tekken director directly commented on a post criticizing Tekken and Bandai Namco for a perceived lack of black representation, because that's all the rage these days, even though no quality consumer actually gives a flying fuck. By the way, could we just laugh and point out the irony of black people in America thinking it's racist when you say you people when referring to blacks, and yet they themselves have no problem lumping all blacks outside of America under the banner of black, and will get annoyed when other people point that out. Amusing. Look at this, unapologetically black. I get the impression they may be politically indoctrinated, just ever so slightly. The only reason why Eddie Gordo hasn't been revealed yet is the creators of Tekken are racist and don't care about black characters or dark-skinned people, so it's going to be a while until the real fighters come out instead of these whites, Latins, and Asians. Yeah, so horribly prejudiced Namco are, even though Eddie Gordo has been featured in what, about 14 titles now? And been a staple since Tekken 3, you moron. It's going to be a while until the real fighters come out. I don't know what angle I can go with from that darker skinned people are inherently more violent, or he thinks only they can fight. I got news for you, Holmes. No one thinks of anything African when it comes to fighting. They'll think Jeet Kune Do, or Taekwondo, or Jiu-Jitsu, or Judo, or Krav Maga. Secondly, and this is just frankly embarrassing on your part, seeing as you said whites, Latins, and Asians. If you knew anything about Eddie Gordo, the man is South American, he's Brazilian, and he knew who his father was, so he's definitely not black. Harada clapping back, if you think you can just claim anything that way and it will pass, you are mistaken. Leroy and Raven will kick your ass. Come to think of it, there are no Japanese characters in the American dramas and movies that I love, but I have never felt discriminated against because of it. What do you think is the crucial difference between you and me? I'm sure you don't understand. You are not logical at all. You are simply a delusional person who doesn't even realize that even if it were an emotional argument, it doesn't make sense. Now, the reason I wanted to do a video on this is because I find this sort of behavior fascinating. I'm trying to think of what to call it. Maybe localized globalism. Because I don't want to call it virtue signaling because that doesn't quite describe the environmental factor at play here, but it is definitely a form of posturing though. The reason I say localized globalism is the internet is this weird third space where cross-communication takes place, but people still speak as if this space is their host nation, even though they can and do often cross their borders in an instance like this. And when they do something like this, it doesn't make any sense because this style of posturing only makes sense, and barely at that, in this regime. But outside of that, they just look like a twat. It's essentially like trying to buy clout with a currency not of the host nation. I mean, look at this situation. It's some gimp in America complaining about a lack of representation to a company on a different fucking continent. I mean, first off, the concept of representation makes as much sense as trying to shag a plugsucker dressed as a carrot. It's bollocks. But the idea of chastising a Japanese company because they don't represent you? It would never occur to me, never mind publicly chastising a company whose products I actually like, but to aim my ire at them because they don't represent my demographic that in no way is represented in their own freaking country. It's just rather rude is what that is. That is a level of arrogant entitlement that I just find baffling. God, honestly, I do not understand how so many people are up their own ass these days. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.